Good afternoon and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to make macaroni cheese, but it's a bit different. This is a macaroni cheese for someone who doesn't really like macaroni cheese. I always found macaroni cheese a bit bland, and so my Aunty Beryl used to make macaroni cheese with tomato smoor as part of it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm making it with bacon. If you're a vegetarian, you can just leave the bacon out. And if you don't eat pork, you can make it with chicken, fried chicken pieces, or you can make it with a cold meat of any sort, or even Viennas. So let's get going. So we're going to start by frying some bacon. This is a packet of bacon, 250 grams of diced bacon, and I'm just going to drop it into a pan on medium-high heat so that it can cook while I'm doing something else. So for this recipe, you can use any short pasta. I'm not using macaroni, I'm using penne pasta. I need to get my water boiling in the pot so I can put my pasta in there. I always use boiling water, and I put the pot on maximum heat, and I'm just going to let the water boil. So here comes what's different about this macaroni cheese. I'm going to start by peeling and chopping up an onion. As soon as the bacon is ready, you want to remove that from the pan. And you can see I didn't brown that at all, I just cooked it. And into the pan I just removed the bacon from, I'm going to put the onions. So you don't need any extra oil. The oil that I used to cook the bacon is enough for the onions. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a tomato smoor, and that is what gives this macaroni cheese extra flavor. So when you are making a tomato relish, try not to use your best tomatoes. You're just going to cut it up and cook it away anyway, so just use the worst tomatoes you can find. But just before I start that, I need to heat up my milk. So I'm going to use a liter of milk for this recipe. And I'm going to heat up 800 milliliters of that milk in the microwave. It takes about 5 minutes on high heat. If you want to be fancy, you can peel your tomatoes. If you don't know how, all you do is you put your tomatoes into a bowl of boiling water. Let it stay in there for about 2 or 3 minutes. Take them out of the water, let them cool down slightly, and you just pull off the skins. But I don't mind the skin. And I'm going to add the tomatoes to the slightly browned onions, and I'm just going to season it to taste. So salt, pepper and sugar is all you need. I'm not going to prescribe how much salt, pepper or sugar you use. That's very personal. So however you make your tomato smoor, just add the salt, pepper and sugar to suit your level of saltiness and sweetness. And I'm going to cover it and leave it to boil. While we were seasoning the relish, you saw that the water for the pasta is boiling. So I'm just going to drop the pasta in there, and we're going to cook the pasta according to the instructions. Now it says cook pasta briskly for approximately 6 to 9 minutes. I usually go for the 9 minutes because after 6 minutes it's still too soft for me. So I'm going to drop the pasta into the pot. I'm going to add as much salt as I like. And I'm just going to stir to separate it. And the moment it starts boiling again, I'm going to time that for 9 minutes. So the pasta is boiling on the stove, and the tomato relish is right next to it, and we're going to make the white sauce. It needs to be quite a thick white sauce, and I'm going to use the same sheet I used last week. So this is 3/4 of a cup of flour. I've used cake flour. And to that, I'm going to add the 200 milliliters of milk that I have not heated up. And before I even turn on the heat, I'm going to mix it with a whisk to make sure there are no lumps. So you can see there are no more lumps. So now I'm going to turn up the heat to quite high. And I'm going to add the rest of the milk. This is the milk that I heated up in the microwave. And I'm going to stir. And I'm going to keep stirring while it heats up because lumps can still form. As soon as I feel this sauce starting to thicken, I'll turn down the heat significantly. Okay, so it's starting to thicken. So I'm going to turn it to medium-low heat. I don't want the sauce to burn. So the sauce is thick, and I'm just going to turn off the heat and remove the sauce from the stove. Now, for those of you who have made white sauce before, you would have noticed that I've left the butter out, so I'm going to add it now. So for this white sauce, you'll need a good half a cup of butter or so, but I'm just guessing. So let's just get this butter incorporated into the sauce. Okay, the butter is almost in there. I'm going to season it so long. So when you use your pepper, remember there's already pepper in the tomato sauce. So you just want to, again, it's personal. I like it quite peppery. If you don't, then use less. Salt is also very personal. Remember, you have salted butter in here though, so be careful with the salt. And then I always add a bit of nutmeg. So let me just show you how much I'm going to sprinkle in there. Okay, maybe it's more than just a bit. So at this point, I'd advise you to taste your sauce because 9 minutes are over. I'm just going to remove my pasta and throw it into a colander. So at this point, I would advise you to taste your sauce, just to taste if the salt content is right. Remember, when you are deciding whether you need more salt or not, or don't remember, I haven't told you this, you're going to add cheese to the sauce as well. So my white sauce is finished. Now I'm going to add some cheese and make it a cheese sauce. Now what I'm using today is I'm using a 250 gram bag of mature cheddar from Woolworths. I usually would use about a 250 gram block, but the bags weren't special, so I make my life difficult. You don't have to use cheddar, you don't have to use mature cheese. You can use a sweet cheese if you want, like a sweet milk Gouda cheese, but I like the strongness of this. I'm going to use all this cheese in the recipe. So I'm going to put about 3/4 of this bag into my white sauce, and I'm going to stir. Now, we are almost finished. We're just going to put everything together and pop it into the oven. So make sure you use a dish that's big enough for a whole bag of pasta. And if you'd like, you can use butter and you can grease it, but I'm just going to spray it with canola oil cooking and baking spray. So the big pot that you made your pasta in is perfect to mix everything together. So I'm going to start by dropping my pasta back into there. Please don't wash your pasta. Once you've boiled it, just leave it in the colander. And I'm going to add the bacon to that. I'm going to add my tomato. And then I'm going to add my cheese sauce. And then I'm just going to mix it all together. Now, for those of you who knew Aunty Beryl, you must know she would never have made a big mess like this. She never used to mix it in a pot. She used to layer it. But I found that if you layer it, it just comes out exactly the same. So I just go for the easy option. And then once it's mixed, I'm going to pour it into my dish and into the oven. I'm going to sprinkle the leftover cheese over the top. And I'm going to pop it into the oven. I don't know how long I cook it for. I'll watch it today. I'm guessing about half an hour. Nothing really needs to be cooked. Everything is cooked already. It just needs to brown on top, and then the sauce will thicken a bit more in the oven. So I baked the pasta at 180 degrees for 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, I turned on the grill and I grilled it for 5 minutes. Let's have a look. Oh, well, it almost stayed together. Well, there you have it, macaroni cheese with tomato. I hope you enjoyed watching the recipe. If you did, please like it. If you enjoyed my other recipes, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in a week's time with something new. Have a good afternoon. I'm about to have lunch.